Now, what could be, because if you guys notice, we've been kind of mowing down this Raw 12, but this might be where we slow it down a bit because it's time for me and Ashton to have this discussion. We get an Xavier Woods vignette.
Oh, yeah.
And he promises that a new day is coming. Ashton, I'm going to hand the ball to you first. What did you think of this? Every thought going through your mind. I want to hear it right now, so let's have at it.
Every thought, okay, well, at first, when I first saw it, I was incredibly frustrated because I saw that they were trying to kind of pigeonhole Xavier Woods into this black preacher gimmick. And I have had my thoughts about it before, and I've already said it on Twitter, and it's just the whole WWE racist thing has gotten to the point where it might as well be passé because everyone says it, and it's been true for so long that it's borderline cliche at this point. But then they do this thing where as soon as he says the words, "It'll be a new day," they put this purple cape-looking thing on his back and try to pull him away from the microphone. And then he kind of breaks away from it and runs over to the mic and says, "It'll be a new day, people. It's a new day. It's going to be a new day." And then they come back over and they put the purple cape thing on him again. So what I got the vibe here was they were trying to get across the message that he was being held back.
Ah.
Did you pick up on that at all?
No, I did not. I like that spin on it, though. In fact, no, let me redact that. I love that spin on it.
It felt like
clever.
they were, it really did feel like that to me, though, because they had, like, every time he would say something about something good happening, when he was talking about how it was going to be a new day, how he kind of implying that he wanted to change the norm, they put the wool over his head, I guess you could say. They tried to cover him up, and they tried to pull him away from the mic and prevent him from getting his words out. And when he went back to the mic, he had this look on his face like he was trying to get across the idea that he was desperate to get these words out there. And then they came back and covered him up again and pulled him away. And then they showed the words "a new day" or "the new day" or something like that. But there was a little logo on that screen that looked like a phoenix rising up.
Yeah. Very,
So as angry as I want to be about the fact that they're giving Xavier Woods a preacher gimmick, I don't think it's fair to jump to that conclusion right now because I think that this is going somewhere.
You know what? After your analysis, I went from like a morbid curiosity because you know what I expressed to you before we got into the show. That I was not going to crap all over this. I had my reservations about it, but I think in doing what we do, we always have to give everything a fair shake before we make a final determination. And it's not even a fair shake, not even close, when you crap all over something from just one vignette. That's incredibly unfair.
Right.
That said, I really liked your analysis here. I think I just went from morbid curiosity to a spark of excitement because you know what? You make a good point. Really reflecting back on the vignette, he does get this look on his face like almost like a worrisome, maybe even slightly fearful look that he's being pulled away from the mic because he knows he still has a message to get out there. He still has something to say. It's almost like he's trying to express this optimism, but every time he's optimistic, they're always like pulling him back. And yeah, that's a great spin on it. Coming from a guy who you knew how ecstatic I was about him joining leagues with Kofi Kingston and Big E, about being a group of just dominant, intellectual black men. Xavier Woods even said on Twitter, "We're not the new nation. We're not the next nation domination. This isn't about skin color. This is about repression on the card, being mid-carders who deserve better, who use their intellect. It's 2014.
Yeah.
And thinking about that now, because you and I had a little discussion, and you said to me that you don't think that Xavier Woods would have signed off on this if this was just your run-of-the-mill preacher gimmick that was another black stereotype. And thinking back to his words about the quote-unquote new nation, maybe you were right, because it is 2014. I think Xavier Woods recognizes that, and I think he wants a gimmick, especially knowing the sentiment, and you just expressed them earlier, how they've become passé, the sentiments regarding African-American performers and WWE, and he wants to have a gimmick that's a positive representation of those things. He wants to go in a different direction. And if he can say that about joining leagues with Kofi and Big E as a solo act where he may have a little bit more breathing room, I am curious. Let's see what you've got. I want to see this now. I think you've really made me come around to it, so I'm excited.
My curiosity is piqued.
Definitely, because I've been a fan of Xavier Woods for a long time. Ever since his TNA days, his Consequences Creed, and those are still some of the best hype vignettes I've seen for a talent because they just give me goosebumps. So yeah, I have faith in this performer. He's an educated guy, he's an intelligent guy, young guy. A huge upside, I think, to Xavier Woods. Even if he's nothing more than a mechanic, he'll be one of the stronger mechanics, I think, to come through here. I have faith in Woods, so it's a new day, baby. Let's see it. That said, do you have anything else you want to say, or can I move on to the next segment?
Well, up next we had Ryder versus Rusev. What do you even expect at this point? It's Ryder versus Rusev.
Yeah, it was a squash, guys. I mean, Ryder tried to go for a broski boot at one point, but you know what? That got met with a big kick to the face. Rusev got Ryder in the accolade. Ryder tapped out. It was over. Ryder expressed interest in being on Team Cena with a tweet. Don't forget about me, bro, even though the rest of the world already has. And they punished him by putting him in the ring with Rusev. And it's like a lamb going to slaughter. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, first of all, how is it punishment for a guy who is never on TV to get a Raw spot with the most over heel in the company?
Well, you know what I mean by punishment, dude. I mean, of course it's not punishment in that respect, but in the kayfabe context of an oppressive
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were speaking strictly kayfabe.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah.
No,
I was concerned there that you were going full smart on us.
Oh, come on, dude. Like, you know what I say all the time with the gym, maximize your minutes. So anytime anybody gets time on TV, it's never a punishment.
Right.
So many guys would love to be on the card in any respect. So yeah, Rusev runs roughshod over Ryder, who I guess will now have to go back to catering. After the match, Lana Rusev cut a promo about the United States title. Sheamus says he takes pride in wearing the championship. And they're delusional if they think that they're going to beat Sheamus. I love the confidence of Rusev. I love how he's kind of like succinct like Roman Reigns is, but he's more like menacing. And he should be more menacing because look at the guy. He's a freaking behemoth. So really good stuff from Rusev there. And then, we go to break after that. And then after that, we get more hype for the network. But more importantly here, Stephanie approaches Lana. And she says, we granted your request about the U.S. Championship match after Raw goes off the air exclusively on the WWE Network. And you know how they say in America, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And pretty much Stephanie is extending an invitation to Team Authority, to Rusev. And then Lana, I like what Lana does here. Because she doesn't openly accept Stephanie's invitation. Because to me, even though they're both heels, it would still be a little bit of a betrayal of her anti-American rhetoric. Instead, she leaves it far more ambiguous by saying, how is it you Americans say, we'll get back to you? And she even says before that, well, before we do anything, I'm going to have to confer with Vladimir Putin over this. So she's still putting Russian national pride over the authority's self-serving interests. And I really like that, Ashton.
Yeah, I love how they maintained kayfabe here.
Yeah, definitely, because I think again, Lana and Stephanie being on the same page, handshake, all that stuff. I think it would have been too much of a betrayal of the narrative that Lana and Rusev have constructed for their characters. So this was great. We go from that to Fernando versus Stardust. Didn't really care about this. I love Cody Rhodes. I love watching him work. So, watching Stardust is always a treat. But, this match boiled down to shenanigans. You had Miz and Mizdow on commentary. They were expressing interest in going after the tag team titles. Pretty much saying, they beat one half of the Usos tonight who were cheaters, so they got exposed and justice was served. Then you had them trying to go after El Torito. El Torito, though, fought back. He kicked Goldust into Miz and Mizdow. That all boiled down. Fernando got the backstabber on Stardust with all the confusion. Los Matadores gets a W again with Fernando beating Stardust. So I'm just guessing with Mizdow and Miz expressing interest and Los Matadores getting these wins that we're going to have a multi-tag team championship match maybe at Survivor Series. And this will be the time, too, that I'm going to go ahead and say on SmackDown it was announced that the Usos get a tag team championship match inside a steel cage against Gold Star. My only question being why. They got beat clean at Hell in a Cell. There's really no need for it. And they lost their singles match tonight to The Miz. Even though, again, it was singles, still a loss is a loss. How are they the number one contenders? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a thing.
Plus, didn't they lose clean at Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They lost clean at Hell in a Cell. Hell, before that, when they were the champions, they lost clean again at Night of Champions. So, I mean, Gold Star has the Usos number. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really have no reason to believe that the Usos are going to win the tag titles this Friday. So yeah, that's a thing. But I do think it's all headed maybe towards like a tag team turmoil or something. And dude, maybe, just maybe we'll finally get the debut of the Ascension. Maybe. I know, it's me sounding like ridiculous, like, oh, John, just go back in the corner at your crazy fan theories again. But if they're getting all these teams together and doing like that big like hodgepodge of tag teams, now would really be the time as a shock to be like, oh, we forgot about one team, and then they just hit their music and we get the Ascension debut. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm calling it. I'm just simply saying that it would be a good time to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you're ever going to have the Ascension debut, it has to be during like a tag team turmoil gauntlet style thing.
Yeah, so they could just assert their dominance and pick apart whoever was like the allegedly last standing team until they showed up.
Yeah.